Recorded Books presents an unabridged recording of Exley by Brock Clarke, narrated by Michael Sullivan as the voice of Miller and Chris Sorensen as Dr. Pawnee, and directed by Megan Barrickman. And now, Exley.
Though the events in this book bear similarity to those of that long malaise my life, many of the characters and happenings are creations solely of the imagination. In such cases, I of course disclaim any responsibility for their resemblance to real people or events, which would be coincidental. In creating such characters, I have drawn freely from the imagination and adhered only loosely to the pattern of my past life. To this extent, and for this reason, I ask to be judged as a writer of fantasy. From A Fan's Notes by Frederick Exley.
First session with new patient, M, and his mother. Just a boy, 9 years old, but with an active and indeed overactive imagination. M believes strongly that his father left him, M, and M's mother, to join the army and go to Iraq. His mother believes strongly that his father left them, but not to join the army and not to go to Iraq. What is certain is that wherever the father is, he's no longer in the family home. What is also certain is that the mother is beautiful. So beautiful that for a moment I forget that I'm here to talk to M and not to look at his mother. When I realize that I'm ignoring my patient, I give myself a stern reprimand, mentally. "Do you know why you're here?" I ask M, as I ask every patient in our first session. "My mother thinks I'm making things up," he replies. "She doesn't believe anything I tell her." "I just want you to get better, M," his mother tells him. "It's not a matter of who believes who." Then she turns to me. "Is it?" she asks, and touches my right forearm very gently with just the tips of her left index and ring fingers. When she removes her fingers, my arm and indeed my arm hair, tingles. It tingles again as I write these words. "Indeed, no," I assure M. But I am inclined to believe his mother. Doctor's Notes, Entry 1.
Part 1. Anything can be a beginning, as long as you call it one. My name is Miller LeRae. I'm 10 years old. I was 9 years old when my dad went to Iraq, and I was still 9 years old 8 months later when I found out he was back from Iraq and in the VA hospital. The day I went to see him in the VA hospital was the day I started trying to find Exley. Exley was the guy who wrote my dad's favorite book, A Fan's Notes. Mother calls the Exley I eventually found a man who just said he was Exley, but I just call him Exley. Because this is one of the things I learned on my own. You need to say things simply, especially when they're complicated. So why don't I begin there, the day I went to see my dad in the VA hospital. Exley's book begins toward the end, but he calls it a beginning anyway. Because this is one of the things I learned from Exley. Anything can be a beginning, as long as you call it one. A beginning. I woke up on Sunday, the 11th of November, 2000 blank, knowing that my dad had come home from the war. I knew this without anyone having to tell me. I knew it in my bones, the way you always know the most important things. I jumped out of bed and ran into my parents' room. The bed was unmade, and there was no one in it. The room was as empty as the bed. I checked the upstairs bathroom. The faucet was dripping, like always. Before my dad went away, Mother sometimes joked that he was the kind of guy who would join up and go to Iraq just so he wouldn't have to fix the faucet. After he left, she stopped making the joke. But anyway, the bathroom was also empty.